The bus pass was inside a red velvet jewelry box. That was the first thing my parents found funny. My mother placed the box in my hands on Christmas morning and told everyone to watch my face. My younger sister Madison was sitting across from me beside the tree, holding a silver key fob with a blue ribbon tied around it. Behind her, through the front window, a brand new white luxury SUV waited in the driveway, with a giant bow stretched across the hood. Everyone had spent the previous 10 minutes crying, cheering, and taking pictures. Madison had covered her mouth when Dad handed her the key. Mom had cried before Madison did. My brother-in-law, Tyler, recorded the entire reveal. Even my 6-year-old nephew shouted, "Aunt Maddie got the big car." Then Mom turned to me. And now something practical for Ava. She gave me the velvet box. The room became quiet in the eager way people become quiet before a punchline. I opened it. Inside was a laminated city transit pass. 30-day unlimited rides. Mom laughed first. Dad followed. Tyler lowered his phone for half a second, then raised it again when he realized my reaction might be worth filming. Madison smiled in a careful, sympathetic way that somehow felt worse than laughing. "I know it is not the same," she said. "But you always say you like public transportation." I looked down at the pass. My name had been written across the back in black marker. Ava Morgan. Under it, Dad had added, "For wherever life takes you." I turned the card over again. The Transit Authority logo was slightly crooked because Mom had printed a custom sticker and placed it over the real design. They had not only bought a bus pass, they had turned it into a family joke. "Merry Christmas," Dad said. I looked through the window at the SUV. It was a 2026 Veyron Ridge LX. Pearl white, cream interior, premium winter package, driver assistance suite. 22-inch wheels, sticker price, $78,900. I knew every feature. I knew the margin on the vehicle. I knew the financing structure. I knew the dealership had received it 11 days earlier. I knew it had originally been reserved for a customer named Dr. Ellis, who agreed to wait when my general manager called and said the owner had requested a temporary hold. I knew all of that because I owned the dealership. Not one share. Not a consulting contract. The dealership. Morgan Crest Automotive. The flagship location in a group of 7 stores I had built over 9 years. The same dealership name appeared on the temporary plate frame hanging from my sister's new SUV. My family had not noticed. Or maybe they had noticed the name and assumed it was a coincidence. They believed I worked in vehicle procurement for an investment company. That was not technically false. I bought dealerships. I restructured them. I turned struggling stores into profitable ones. But years earlier, when I tried to explain the first acquisition, Dad interrupted me to ask whether the job came with health insurance. Mom said selling cars was unstable. Madison joked that at least I could get the family discounts. After that, I stopped explaining. They saw what they expected. The single daughter. The one who lived in a downtown apartment. The one who sometimes took the bus. The one who drove an old gray sedan whenever she visited. They assumed the sedan was all I could afford. They did not know it was the first car I bought after leaving home. They did not know I kept it because it reminded me what it felt like to own something no one could take. And they definitely did not know the dealership that sold Madison's SUV belonged to me. I closed the velvet box. "Thank you," I said. Mom's laughter softened. She had expected me to react. Embarrassment only becomes entertainment when the target performs. "You like it?" Dad asked. "It is useful." Tyler grinned. "Come on, Ava. You can admit you are jealous." I looked at him. "Of the bus pass? Of the car?" Madison touched his arm. "Do not." But she was smiling. I looked through the window again. The bow had been attached badly. One corner was already sliding across the hood. Someone from the dealership would normally secure it with hidden suction straps. The salesperson who delivered the vehicle had probably rushed. That bothered me more than the joke. Not because the bow mattered, because process mattered. The family had spent years teaching me that details only mattered when someone else benefited. I stood. I need coffee. Mom frowned. We have not taken the sister picture. What sister picture? You holding the bus pass beside Madison in the car. I stared at her. She said it like it was obvious. A Christmas contrast. Successful daughter with SUV. Practical daughter with transit card. Something funny for the family group chat. No, I said. Mom blinked. What? No picture. Dad sighed. Ava, do not turn this into a mood. I said thank you. You always do this, Madison said softly. I looked at her. Do what? Make people feel bad for giving you something. The words landed with years behind them. When I was 12, Madison received a new bicycle, and I received her old one after Dad painted it blue. When I was 16, she received a laptop for school, and I received a calculator, because I liked practical things. When I graduated college, my parents gave Madison money for a study abroad trip because she was finding herself. They gave me a suitcase they already owned because I was going places anyway. Every unequal gift had been transformed into a lesson about gratitude. If I looked hurt, I was materialistic. If I stayed quiet, they called me cold. If I asked why, I ruined the day. Madison had learned the pattern well. I am not making anyone feel anything, I said. I am declining a picture. Tyler lowered his phone. This is why holidays are difficult. For whom? He laughed. There it is. Dad stood. Enough. Your sister is happy. Let her have her moment. She has it. Then act like family. The phrase was familiar. Act like family usually meant perform approval of whatever they had already decided. I placed the bus pass on the side table. I am going for coffee. We have coffee, Mom said. I know. I took my coat from the hallway. Behind me, Madison said, Are you seriously leaving because I got a car? I turned. No, I am leaving because you all bought a bus pass as a joke and expected me to pose beside the punchline. Mom crossed her arms. It was lighthearted. Then laugh without me. I walked outside. The cold hit immediately. Snow had fallen during the night and remained clean along the street. The SUV looked even brighter against it. As I passed, I saw a paper folder on the passenger seat. Morgan Crest Automotive. Vehicle delivery package. I stopped. The folder was open. A yellow sticky note had been attached to the first page. Owner approval pending. Holiday exception. My body became still. Owner approval pending. That meant the sale was not complete. I looked at the temporary registration through the windshield. Registered purchaser, Robert and Elaine Morgan. My parents. Gift recipient, Madison Pierce. Financing source, Crestline Community Bank. Down payment, dealer promotional credit. Dealer promotional credit? We did not offer promotional credits on the Ridge LX. Not at that amount. I took out my phone and called Julian Park, general manager of Morgan Crest's flagship store. He answered on the second ring. Merry Christmas, Ava. Merry Christmas. Did we deliver a White Ridge LX to Robert Morgan? Silence. Then, carefully, yes. Why? The file said family authorization. Whose authorization? Derek said it came from ownership. Derek Sloan was our finance director. He had been with the dealership for 6 months. What exactly did he approve? A $12,000 owner courtesy credit, delayed down payment verification, and temporary delivery before final funding. My anger became cold. Who requested it? Your father. Did he use my name? Another silence. He said you approved a family Christmas adjustment. I looked back at the house. Through the window, I could see Madison holding the key up while Tyler filmed. My father had not only mocked me with a bus pass, he had used my ownership to obtain a luxury car for my sister, without telling me. How did he prove the connection? I asked. Julian lowered his voice. He brought a company holiday card you sent last year. Your note said, "Thank you for supporting the business." He also showed Derek a family photo with you. That is not authorization. I know. Did Derek contact me? He said you were traveling and did not want to be disturbed. I was not traveling. I understand. Where is Derek? Home, I assume. Call him. Tell him not to contact the Morgans. Freeze the deal. Preserve every email, text, call note, and camera recording. Julian became completely professional. Do you want the vehicle recovered? Not yet. Funding has not completed. I know. What do you want me to do? I looked at the bus stop at the end of my parents' street. A blue shelter. Snow piled around the bench. The same route printed on the pass inside. I want the dealership opened at noon. It is Christmas. Only you, Derek, legal counsel, and security. Julian paused. I will be there. And Julian? Yes? Bring the deed package. The dealership deed? All ownership records. He understood then. You are going to tell them. I am going to let the paperwork tell them. I ended the call. The front door opened behind me. Dad stepped outside without a coat. You are really walking to a coffee shop? I may take the bus. He smiled as if that proved the gift was appropriate. Then he saw my face. What happened? Did you tell Morgan Crest Automotive I approved a family discount? The smile disappeared. For 1 second, he did not speak. That was enough. You called them? Yes. On Christmas, you used my name. Dad stepped closer. Keep your voice down. No one is outside. The neighbors. Did you use my name? He rubbed his forehead. I said you worked with the ownership group. I am the ownership group. He froze. The words arrived between us too early. I had planned the reveal for noon. But the truth had already opened the door. Dad laughed once. Not because he believed me. Because disbelief felt safer. You own Morgan Crest? Yes. The dealership? Yes. That is ridiculous. Then why did you tell them I approved the credit? His face tightened. I said you had influence. You used a company relationship to create a $12,000 discount. It was a family courtesy. It was unauthorized. You always said family discounts were possible. I said I could review purchases. Same thing. No. The front door opened again. Mom and Madison stepped outside. What is happening? Mom asked. Dad spoke quickly. Ava is upset about the dealership discount. Madison looked confused. What dealership discount? The car is not fully paid for, I said. Her face changed. What? Dad turned toward me. Do not scare her. I am explaining the deal. Mom stepped between us. The car is hers. The sale is not funded. We signed. You signed a contract that depends on financing, down payment verification, and a fake owner credit. Mom stared at me. Fake? Yes. Yes. Dad lowered his voice. We will handle it. Through my dealership? Everyone went quiet. Madison looked at me. Your dealership? Yes. She laughed. Then stopped when no one joined her. Tyler came to the doorway with his phone. What is going on? Madison pointed at me. She says she owns the dealership. Tyler looked from me to the SUV. Then at the temporary plate frame. Morgan Crest? Yes. Mom shook her head. No. You work for an investment company. I own the holding company that owns Morgan Crest. Dad's face had gone pale. Since when? 9 years. That is impossible. You were at the first store's reopening. He frowned. The small used car place? Yes. You said you were helping manage it. I was managing it because I bought it. Mom stared at me. How many dealerships? 7. The silence became complete. A snowplow passed at the end of the street. Madison looked at the SUV as if it had changed shape. You own the place that sold this? Yes. Then why are you acting like the discount is a problem? You can approve it. There it was. The first response was not apology. Opportunity. She had learned faster than Dad expected. I looked at her. Why should I? Her face hardened. Her face hardened. Because I am your sister. Did you know Dad used my name? No. Would that have bothered you? She hesitated. I thought the car was paid for. It is financed. Everyone finances cars. Not with a false owner credit. Dad stepped forward. We did not lie. You told them I approved it. I believed you would. That is not the truth. It is what family does. I looked back through the window. The red velvet box remained on the side table. A bus pass for me. A luxury SUV purchased through my own company for Madison. Not just favoritism. Theft, disguised as expectation. At noon, I said, we are meeting at the dealership. Mom's face tightened. Christmas lunch is at 1. Then this should not take long. What happens at the dealership? Madison asked. The deal is reviewed. Can they take the car back? If the financing and down payment fail, yes. She began crying. The speed of the tears told me she had already attached ownership to something she had held for 20 minutes. You cannot do that, she said. I did not create this problem. You are punishing me because Mom made a joke. This is not about the bus pass. It is obviously about the bus pass. No. The bus pass revealed what you think of me. The vehicle file revealed what you did with my name. Dad looked toward the house. We are not going to a dealership on Christmas. Then the vehicle stays parked and unfunded. It is on our property. It belongs to Morgan Crest until funding completes. Tyler stepped outside. Can we just pay the missing amount? I looked at him. How much do you think is missing? He looked toward Dad. Dad said nothing. I answered. 12,000 in fake credit, 5,000 in delayed down payment, and financing approval based on income documents I have not reviewed. Madison turned toward Dad. You said the down payment was covered. It will be. With what? Mom asked. Dad looked at me. That was the answer. He expected me to cover it. Not because I was the favorite. Because I was the resource. The bus pass was not only a joke. It was a reminder of the role they had assigned me. Take less. Need less. Give more. I put on my gloves. Noon, I said. Then I walked toward the bus stop. Behind me, Madison shouted, Where are you going? I held up the velvet box I had taken from the side table without anyone noticing. To use my gift. The bus arrived 7 minutes later. I sat near the back. Only 5 people were on board. A nurse in blue scrubs. An older man holding grocery bags. A teenager wearing headphones. A mother with a sleeping child. And me, owner of 7 car dealerships, carrying a 30-day transit pass in a velvet box. The driver scanned the card. It worked. Mom had actually loaded it. I almost respected the commitment to the joke. The bus moved through quiet Christmas streets, while my phone filled with messages. Dad, we should discuss this at home. Mom, Madison is crying. Madison, I cannot believe you let me fall in love with a car and then threaten to take it. Tyler, I am trying to understand the numbers. Call me. I answered none of them. Instead, I opened our dealership management system through the secure app. The vehicle file was worse than Julian described. The owner courtesy credit had been entered under code A01. That code required my digital approval. Someone had uploaded an image of my signature. Not a typed note. My signature. The image came from a document I recognized immediately. A sponsorship letter I had signed for my father's retirement charity golf event. Dad had asked me to sponsor a table through the company you work with. I contributed $5,000 from Morgan Crest Community Fund. The letter included my signature and title. Ava Morgan, Managing Member. He had used the letter to prove ownership authorization. Maybe he did not understand the title. Maybe he did. The transaction notes showed 2 visits. First visit, Robert Morgan and spouse inquired regarding holiday purchase for daughter, claims relation to ownership, requested discretionary pricing. Second visit, Robert Morgan provided supporting correspondence. Finance Director Derek Sloan authorized owner courtesy, pending later confirmation. Then another note. Customer states owner is older daughter, but purchase must remain confidential to protect Christmas surprise. My father knew. He knew I owned the dealership. The disbelief outside had been an act. He had not misunderstood my job. He had hidden what he knew from Mom and Madison while using it for the discount. That realization hurt differently. For years, I told myself my parents dismissed my work because they did not understand it. Dad understood enough when he needed something. He simply did not think my achievement deserved family attention, unless it could be converted into a benefit for Madison. I called Julian. Pull the showroom video from both visits. I already requested it. Did Dad meet Derek alone? First visit with your mother, second visit alone. Did he say I owned the store? We will know soon. Send it to legal, not me. Understood. The bus stopped near Morgan Crest Automotive at 11:38. The store looked strange empty. Usually the glass showroom was bright, full of movement, salespeople, customers, coffee, children climbing into display vehicles. On Christmas, only the security lights glowed. The giant silver Morgan Crest sign reflected in the snow. I stood across the street for a moment. 9 years earlier, the building had been called Crestline Used Motors. It had 4 employees, 92 unsold vehicles, 2 lawsuits, and a reputation for hiding fees. I was 27 and working for a private investment firm that specialized in distressed retail businesses. My job was to analyze whether the dealership could be saved. The firm decided no. I disagreed. The owner, George Halpern, was 72 and tired. I offered to buy the business using my savings, a small business loan, and an investment from a former mentor. Everyone thought I was reckless. Dad said I should keep a secure job. Mom asked why I wanted to spend my life around car salesmen. Madison said she would never buy a used car from me because family deals become awkward. I bought the store anyway. The first year, I slept in the office twice a week. The second year, we became profitable. The third, I bought a struggling new car franchise 30 miles away. Then another. I hired carefully, paid people clearly, removed hidden fees, added childcare spaces, transparent financing reviews, and a policy that no customer left without a printed explanation of every number. That policy mattered to me because my family had spent years making fairness feel too complicated to print. By the time Morgan Crest became a regional group, I had learned an important truth. People do not always need the cheapest deal. They need to know the deal is real. My father's deal was not real. Julian opened the side entrance. He wore jeans and a heavy coat instead of his usual suit. "Merry Christmas again," he said. "I am sorry." "Do not be. My children are building something that appears to be either a castle or a legal violation." I almost smiled. Inside, the lights came on one section at a time. Legal counsel, Priya Desai, was already in the conference room. Derek arrived at 11:55. He looked terrified. He should have. Not because I enjoyed fear, because he had bypassed every safeguard designed to prevent exactly this situation. He entered carrying a laptop and a folder. "Ava, I can explain. Start with the signature." He sat. Mr. Morgan provided the sponsorship letter. That letter did not authorize a discount. I understood it as relationship evidence. Relationship is not approval. He said you were his daughter. He was correct. He said this was how your family handled private purchases. Did you verify that? No? Why? Derek looked down. He implied the general manager might not understand the owner's informal practices. Julian's face tightened. So you believed a customer over your own general manager? Derek shook his head. I thought I was protecting the sale. Priya opened the file. You created an owner credit without digital authorization. You accepted a copied signature. You delivered before funding. You delayed down payment verification. You overrode the vehicle hold. Which part protected the dealership? Derek had no answer. I asked, Did my father offer you anything? His eyes moved. Priya noticed. What? She asked. Derek swallowed. He said he could introduce me to a board member at Crestline Community Bank. Julian leaned back. Why would that matter? My wife is applying for a commercial loan. There it was. Not cash. Access. The oldest form of family currency. Did he make the introduction? I asked. Not yet. Did you document the offer? No. Did you tell anyone? No. Priya closed the folder. You are suspended pending investigation. Derek looked at me. Please. I have 2 children. The phrase landed exactly where family pressure always landed. Children. Need. Consequences redirected toward the person with authority. I am not deciding your employment today, I said. The review will. You own the company. Yes. You can decide. I can. I am choosing process. He looked as if that felt crueler than anger. At 12:10, my family arrived. Dad drove. The SUV remained at the house. Madison entered first, still holding the key fob. Mom followed with her purse pressed against her body. Tyler walked behind them. Dad came last. He looked at the showroom walls. Employee awards. Community photos. A framed article titled, Morgan Crest expands to 7th location. My photograph appeared beneath it. Dad stopped. He had probably seen the image before. Maybe he had looked away. Madison walked toward the nearest sales desk. Where is everyone? It is Christmas, Julian said. She looked embarrassed. Oh. We moved to the conference room. On the table, Priya had arranged the file. Vehicle contract, credit application, copied signature, owner courtesy form. Delivery checklist, dealership ownership certification. The dealership deed and corporate records sat inside a blue binder. Mom noticed my name immediately. Ava Morgan, controlling member, 92%. The remaining 8% belonged to my first investor, Ellen Shaw. Mom touched the binder. You really own this. Yes. Madison stared at the wall behind me. How much is it worth? Priya spoke before I could. That is not relevant to the vehicle contract. Madison looked annoyed. It is relevant to me. I met her eyes. Why? Because you let us think you were barely getting by. I never said that. You take the bus. I live 4 blocks from work. You drive an old car. I like it. You rent an apartment. I own the building through another company. The room became silent again. That detail was unnecessary. I said it because I was tired. Mom sat down slowly. How much have you hidden? I did not hide my life. You stopped asking questions after deciding the answers. Dad looked at me. I knew about the first dealership. I know. His face changed. How? The transaction note says you identified me as the owner. Mom turned toward him. You knew? Dad did not answer quickly enough. She repeated it. You knew? She owned this place? I knew she had a major interest. How major? He looked at the binder. I did not know the percentage. But you used it. Mom's voice was quieter now. Dad turned toward me. I thought the family discount was normal. Then why keep the purchase confidential from me? Because it was Madison's Christmas surprise. You could have surprised her with a properly funded purchase. We planned to complete the down payment after the holidays. With what? Dad's jaw tightened. A retirement distribution. Mom looked at him. What distribution? He did not answer. Madison stopped crying. Tyler leaned forward. Robert, what did you use for the income documents? Dad looked at the contract. The bank had our information. Priya slid one page forward. The application lists household annual income at $214,000. Mom stared. That is not our income. Dad said nothing. The application included pension income, consulting income, investment distributions, and expected rental income. Expected rental income from a property they did not own. The address listed was my downtown apartment building. My father had claimed partial family rental income from one of my properties. I felt the last piece of Christmas disappear. Why is my building on your application? I asked. Dad looked at me. Your grandmother helped you with that property. She invested in a different project years ago. She had no ownership in my current building. We believed there was family equity. Who is we? Mom shook her head. Not me. Dad looked alone now. For the first time, this was not my parents against me. It was one man's plan becoming visible. Madison whispered, Dad, what did you do? He looked at her. I was trying to give you something good. With Ava's discount and Ava's property, I was going to fix the paperwork. After delivery. After Christmas. After the pictures. Once the SUV had become emotionally hers. Then he would ask me to approve what had already happened. That was the strategy. Not a mistake. A completed scene designed to make my refusal look cruel. Priya spoke calmly. The dealership has 3 options. 1. The purchasers complete a new, accurate contract with verified funds and no owner credit. 2. Another qualified purchaser assumes the transaction after full review. 3. The vehicle is returned immediately. Madison looked at me. What about the family discount? There is no automatic family discount, I said. You give employees discounts. You are not an employee. I am your sister. That is a relationship, not a pricing code. Her face hardened. So I get nothing. You received a bus pass joke at my expense, and a car deal built with my name. You did not receive nothing. Mom looked down. Tyler asked to see the accurate numbers. Julian printed them. Without the false credit, with taxes and fees, the down payment required to keep the financing within the bank's limit was $18,700. The monthly payment would be $1,146 before insurance. Tyler stared at the page. We cannot afford that. Madison turned to him. You said we could. I thought your parents were paying the down payment. Dad said, we can. Mom looked at him. No, we cannot. That answer opened another door. I looked at her. What is happening? Mom pressed both hands together. Our retirement account is already reduced. Dad said her name sharply. She ignored him. We helped Madison and Tyler with the house refinance last year. Madison's face changed. You said that money came from an investment. It did, Dad said. Our retirement investment, Mom replied. Tyler looked toward Madison. The car was not a gift from wealthy parents. It was another rescue purchased with money they did not have. I looked at the bus pass in its velvet box on the table. $32. That was the only Christmas gift in the room that had been paid for honestly. The meeting should have ended with the vehicle return. It did not. Families rarely stop when the facts become clear. They change the argument. Madison pushed the accurate payment sheet away. This is humiliating. I looked at her. The contract is private. Everyone saw the car. The people at Mom and Dad's house saw it. I posted it. Of course she had. Tyler closed his eyes. How many people? He asked. I do not know. You were live for 20 minutes, Mom said. Madison reached for her phone. The video had already been viewed more than 4,000 times. Her caption read, When your parents surprise you with the dream car you have earned after the hardest year of your life. Earned. That word mattered. She had received the key less than an hour earlier, and had already transformed the gift into proof of personal value. People had commented, "You deserve it. Best parents ever. Finally something good for your family." One person wrote, "Your sister must be so jealous." Madison had liked that comment. I saw it before she turned the screen over. "You liked a comment about me being jealous," I said. She looked embarrassed. "It was a joke. That phrase is doing a lot of work today." Dad stood. "Enough. We need a solution." Priya spoke evenly. "The solutions are already listed. I am talking about a family solution." "There is no separate version of contract law for Christmas morning." Dad looked at me. "Approve the 12,000. We will provide the rest within 60 days. "From where?" "I will take consulting work." "You are 70? "I am capable." Mom stared at him. "You told the doctor you were reducing stress. This is not the time. It became the time when you used retirement money." Madison turned toward Mom. "How much did you give us last year?" Mom did not answer. Tyler did. 40,000. Madison stared at him. "You said 20. 20 covered the refinance gap. The rest covered cards and taxes." "You did not tell me. You were pregnant with Chloe and anxious." Their youngest child was 18 months old. The phrase anxious had protected Madison from numbers for years. Mom asked, "How much debt do you have now?" Tyler looked down. Dad interrupted. "We are not doing this here." I understood then. Dad knew. The car was not only a Christmas gift. It was part of a larger attempt to protect Madison's image. Their current SUV was 6 years old but reliable. Madison had begun posting lifestyle content online after leaving her marketing job. She reviewed home products, family trips, clothing, and parenting routines. A luxury car fit the brand she wanted. More views, more sponsorships, more proof that she was thriving. The family was financing appearance in hopes appearance would create income. "How much?" I asked Tyler. He looked at Madison. She shook her head. I repeated it. "How much total consumer debt?" "This is not your business," she said. "The vehicle financing is being processed through my business using false information." Tyler answered, 106,000. Mom covered her mouth. Dad stared at the floor. Madison's face became red. "That includes the cars. Both existing vehicles?" I asked. Tyler nodded. "How much equity in the house?" "Maybe 60. "How much is the second mortgage?" 82. So negative after selling costs. Madison began crying again. "Stop talking about our life like it is a failed company. I am trying to understand why Dad thought another $80,000 vehicle would help." Dad finally answered, "Because her current vehicle is becoming expensive." Tyler looked at him. "It needed brakes." "How much?" I asked. 1,400. I stared at Dad. "You attempted an $80,000 purchase to avoid $1,400 in repairs." The new vehicle had warranty coverage and a $1,000 monthly payment. He looked angry now. "You always think numbers tell the whole story. They tell me this car makes the problem worse. It would help Madison's business." There it was. Did she have a sponsorship agreement? Madison wiped her face. "Not yet." "Then it is not business revenue. You do not understand social media." "I understand paying for inventory before demand exists." "I am not selling cars. You are selling an image." She stared at me. The sentence was accurate and cruel. I regretted the tone immediately. "Not the fact." "I am trying to build something," she said. "So did I. You had investors. I had one investor and a personal guarantee. You had no children." The old defense. My risk did not count because I had taken it alone. I looked at the accurate contract. "The vehicle is returned." Madison stood. "No, it is not funded. Approve the deal." "No, you could do it without noticing the money." Maybe that was true. $12,000 would not threaten Morgan Crest. But the amount was not the real cost. Approval would turn Dad's lie into family policy. It would tell Derek that rules disappeared around ownership. It would tell my parents that finished surprises could force my consent. It would tell Madison that humiliation was a valid route to access. No, I repeated. Madison looked toward Mom. Say something. Mom was crying quietly. I did not know the deal was false. But you wanted the car. I wanted you happy. Then help me keep it. Mom looked at me. For 1 second, I saw the request forming. The familiar appeal. You are stronger. You can afford it. Do this for peace. Then she looked at the copied signature. No, she said. Madison froze. What? We cannot afford it. Ava can. That does not make it ours. It was the first time Mom had ever said those words in a room where Madison wanted something. Dad looked betrayed. You are turning against your daughter. I have 2 daughters. The room went silent. Mom continued. One received a car through a lie. The other received a bus pass as a joke. I participated in that. I am ashamed. My throat tightened. Madison stared at her. So now I am the bad daughter because Ava is secretly rich? No, Mom said. You are an adult whose car has not been paid for. Tyler stood beside Madison. We will return it. She turned on him. You promised me. I promised what I thought your parents purchased. You knew we could not afford it. Yes. And you let me post it? Yes. She looked around the room as if everyone had failed her at once. Maybe we had. In different ways. Dad had created the lie. Tyler had avoided the numbers. Mom had enjoyed the reveal. I had allowed years of misunderstanding because correcting it felt exhausting. Madison had built an identity around rescue and called every limit betrayal. Julian arranged vehicle recovery. A flatbed truck would collect it from my parents' house because the temporary delivery insurance had not been finalized. Madison signed the return acknowledgement with shaking hands. Then she removed the key from the blue ribbon and placed it on the table. She looked at me. Merry Christmas. The words were full of hate. She left the conference room. Tyler followed. Mom remained seated. Dad moved toward the door. Priya stopped him. Mr. Morgan, we need a statement regarding the signature and income documents. He looked at me. Are you investigating your own father? The dealership is investigating a falsified transaction. I was trying to help your sister. That does not answer the paperwork. You have become exactly the kind of person I worried success would make you. The sentence found the deepest place he could reach. Cold. Transactional. More loyal to business than family. For years, I feared success had made me difficult to love. That was why I drove the old sedan home. Why I avoided talking about acquisitions. Why I let my family assume I was less successful than I was. I wanted to remain familiar enough to belong. Dad knew that. He used it. I looked at him. And you became the kind of customer my company policies were written to stop. He flinched. Priya asked him to sit. He did. His statement took 40 minutes. He admitted using the sponsorship letter. He admitted claiming I approved the credit. He admitted listing rental income tied to my building. He insisted he believed family connection made the claims reasonable. Priya asked whether he would have made the same statements if the owner were not his daughter. He did not answer. That silence was the answer. At 2:15, the meeting ended. Christmas lunch had been canceled. Mom left with Dad but sat in the back seat of the rideshare she ordered. She would not get into his car. I stood alone in the showroom beside the velvet box. Julian approached. Do you need a ride? I shook my head. The bus still runs. He looked at the pass. Was that really your gift? Yes. And the vehicle was hers? Apparently. He looked toward the empty delivery bay. My parents gave my brother a motorcycle when he turned 21. They gave me luggage. What did you do? Used the luggage to move out. I smiled. He continued. Families do not always recognize the gift they are giving. I looked down at the bus pass. Maybe mine was not transportation. Maybe it was clarity. The vehicle returned to the dealership at 3. The giant bow was still attached. Madison had left it there. The velvet jewelry box remained on the conference table. I placed the key inside it. Then I called Dr. Ellis. He answered with surprise. "Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Your Ridge LX is available again. Is everything okay?" "No," I said, "but the vehicle is." He laughed softly. "My daughter will be happy." The SUV was not for him. It was for his adult daughter, who had recently completed cancer treatment and needed a more comfortable vehicle for long medical visits. He had agreed to the temporary hold because Julian told him the owner had a family emergency. That detail made me feel sick. My father's false Christmas surprise had delayed someone else's real need. "We will deliver it tomorrow at no additional charge," I said. "That is kind, but unnecessary." "It is necessary to me." The next morning, the dealership delivered the SUV to Dr. Ellis's daughter. He posted one photo. No giant bow, no dramatic video, just his daughter sitting in the driver's seat with both hands on the wheel and tears in her eyes. His caption said, "A fresh start after a difficult year." I did not compare her gratitude to Madison's anger. I tried not to. But I understood something. A gift is not measured by price. It is measured by whether the giver had the right to give it. My father had tried to give away a discount, a signature, and an income claim that did not belong to him. The SUV was expensive. The gift was empty. The family fallout began before the delivery truck returned. Madison posted a black screen online. Some people care more about money and control than family, even on Christmas. Then Tyler posted nothing. Mom left every family group chat. Dad sent a message to our relatives. Christmas was disrupted by an unfortunate business misunderstanding. Please give Madison privacy. He did not mention the copied signature. He did not mention the false income. He did not mention the bus pass. By evening, relatives were calling me. Aunt Laura asked whether I repossessed my sister's Christmas present. Cousin Ben asked if I could not afford one family discount. Grandpa's old friend said success should make a person generous. I answered one question each time. "Did Dad tell you he used my signature?" The conversation usually ended. Facts are awkward when people arrive prepared for emotion. Madison's version lasted 2 days. Then dealership security footage reached Priya. The video showed Dad in Derek's office. The audio was clear. Dad said, "Ava will approve it. She always resists family help because she does not want us knowing how much she has. Once Madison has the vehicle, Ava will not take it back and look cruel." There it was. The plan in one sentence. Finished surprise. Emotional leverage. My fear of looking cruel. He knew exactly what he was doing. Priya asked whether I wanted to see the video. I said no. I had already spent 36 years watching the same strategy without audio. Derek's investigation ended in termination. Not because he gave my family a discount. Because he accepted a personal favor, bypassed controls, and delivered an unfunded vehicle using copied authorization. His wife's loan application had nothing to do with the dealership, but his willingness to trade access for access did. He appealed. The independent review upheld the decision. We paid the compensation required under his contract and provided neutral employment confirmation. I did not blacklist him. I did not call other dealerships. Consequences did not require revenge. Dad's conduct created a separate issue. The bank application contained false income information. Because the loan never funded and the vehicle was returned, Crestline Community Bank chose not to pursue a fraud complaint after reviewing the file. They did, however, flag Dad's customer profile and close the application permanently. Priya sent him a formal demand to stop representing any authority over Morgan Crest or my other companies. He called the letter humiliating. I called it necessary. Mom moved into the guest room after Christmas. I learned that from Aunt Laura, not from her. Dad told everyone she was overreacting. Mom told no one anything. For 2 weeks, I heard nothing from her. Then a package arrived at my office. Inside was the red velvet box. The bus pass remained inside. Under it was a handwritten note. I bought this because I thought the difference between you and Madison was funny. It was not. I helped create a family where her wants felt urgent and your dignity felt optional. I am sorry. I read the note twice. Mom's apologies had always included explanations. I was tired. Your sister was struggling. Your father made the decision. You know how holidays become. This note had none. I placed it in my desk. I did not call her. An apology is not an emergency requiring immediate response. Madison contacted me next. Not to apologize. To demand that I remove Tyler's name from the dealership file. My husband did not create the deal, she said. He signed the gift recipient disclosure and participated in the financial meeting. That does not make him responsible. It makes him part of the record. His employer could see it during a background check. The file is private. Then why keep it? Because businesses keep transaction records. She laughed bitterly. Everything with you is records. Everything with Dad's deal became records when he used my signature. You always need proof. Today, yes. She was silent. Then she said, people online think I lied. You posted before the vehicle was funded. I believed it was mine. Belief did not make the contract complete. You embarrassed me. You embarrassed me with a bus pass video. That was Mom. You liked the jealousy comment. She became quiet. I continued. You did not know about Dad's paperwork. I believe that. But after you learned I owned the dealership, your first response was that I should approve the discount because I could. What should I have said? Maybe congratulations. The line went silent. In 36 years, my sister had congratulated me for promotions she understood. She had congratulated me when my apartment appeared in a design magazine, because that fit her world. She had never congratulated me for building the company because, until that morning, she had refused to see it. You hid it, she said. I stopped explaining. Same thing. No. We ended the call without resolution. Tyler called that evening. He sounded exhausted. Madison wants me to ask whether you will help us with a different car. I almost laughed. Do you need a car? Our current SUV needs brakes and tires. That is a repair problem. She thinks trading it is better. Financially, it is not. I know. Why are you calling? Because I need the name of a trustworthy repair shop. That answer mattered. Not a discount. Not a free vehicle. A real solution to the real problem. I gave him the number of an independent shop owned by a former Morgan Crest technician. Then I called the owner privately and said only, treat them fairly. No family discount. The brakes and tires cost $2,360. Less than 3 months of payments on the new SUV. Tyler paid through a 6-month repair plan. Madison posted nothing about it. Real financial recovery rarely photographs well. By February, their debt situation had become impossible to ignore. Tyler brought a full statement package to my office. Madison refused to come. He placed everything on the table. Credit cards, second mortgage, personal loans, business expenses from her content work, unpaid taxes, vehicle loans. The total was closer to $130,000 than $106,000. Does she know? I asked. She knows now. What does she want? She wants to increase sponsorship income. What is her current average? About $1,800 a month before expenses. And spending? Closer to $4,000. The business was not supporting the household. The household was supporting the appearance of a business. What do you want from me? I asked. A plan. Not money? No. Does Madison agree? No. I pushed the statements back. Then I cannot help. He looked surprised. You understand the numbers. This is both of your debt. I can make decisions. Not sustainable ones without her participation. He nodded slowly. Fair. That word was new in our family. Not kindness. Not sacrifice. Fair. A week later, Madison came. She wore no makeup and carried no designer bag. She sat across from me and said, I do not want a lecture. I do not want to give one. You think I am stupid. No. You think I am spoiled. I think rescue has protected you from information. That sounds like spoiled. It sounds like a pattern. She looked at the statements. I did not know Dad used retirement money. I believe you. I did not know he used your signature. I believe you. I did know we could not afford the car. I waited. She continued. I thought Mom and Dad could. Why? Because they always found money. There it was. Her version of our childhood. Dad found money. Mom found a way. Madison never saw what disappeared from someone else's side of the equation. I thought you were jealous, she said. Of the SUV? Of how they celebrated me. I looked down. That answer was not entirely wrong. I was not jealous of the debt. I was jealous of the ceremony. The bow. The tears. The public joy. My achievements had been treated as practical outcomes. Expected. Quiet. Madison's wants became family events. Yes, I said. Her eyes widened. I was jealous of being celebrated. She leaned back. You never say things like that. Because when I did, Mom called me ungrateful. Madison looked toward the window. I thought you did not care. I learned not to show it. She began crying. Not loudly. Not strategically. I liked the comment because I wanted you jealous, she said. The honesty hurt more than denial. Why? Because you always seemed above everything. I was surviving it. I could not tell the difference. Neither could our parents. Maybe neither could I. We sat quietly. Then I opened a blank spreadsheet. Are you ready to see the numbers? She nodded. For 3 hours we built a debt plan. Not a rescue. A plan. Sell the newer of their 2 existing vehicles and keep the reliable SUV after repair. Pause all paid content production for 90 days. Return unused equipment. Sell luxury items purchased for videos. Meet with a tax professional. Freeze credit cards. Use Tyler's annual bonus against the second mortgage. Move the children's activities to lower-cost programs temporarily. List every sponsorship as income only after payment, not when promised. Madison cried twice. Argued 4 times. Then signed nothing. Because the plan was not a contract with me. It was theirs. Before leaving, she placed the bus pass on my desk. Mom had apparently given it to her after I failed to respond. I do not want this, she said. Neither do I. What should we do with it? I thought about the nurse, the older man, the teenager, and the mother on the Christmas bus. Donate it. We gave the remaining value to a local workforce program that provided transportation for newly employed residents. Then Morgan Crest matched it with 100 annual passes. We did not call it the Christmas bus campaign. We did not use my family story in the press release. The company simply announced a transportation partnership. The irony did not need marketing. Mom and I met in March. At a coffee shop. Public. Neutral. She arrived early and brought no gifts. I left your father, she said, before the coffee arrived. I stared at her. Permanently? I do not know. Why? Because the car was not the first time he used family money without telling me. She handed me a folder. Dad had taken loans against retirement funds, borrowed from a home equity line, and used a small inheritance Mom received from her aunt. Most transfers went toward Madison's emergencies. Some went toward an investment Dad believed would recover the losses. It had not. Their retirement position was fragile. Did you know any of this? I asked. Pieces. Why didn't you ask? Because every answer involved Madison, and I did not want to feel cruel. The same fear Dad used against me. Looking cruel. Mom looked down. I enjoyed making the bus pass joke. I waited. I thought it would make Madison's gift look bigger. It did. I thought you would roll your eyes, then laugh. Why? Because you always recovered. Recovered is not the same as unharmed. I know, she cried quietly. Then she said, I am proud of you. The words irritated me more than comforted me. Because I own dealerships? No, she thought. Because you built rules strong enough to stop us. That answer reached me. Not the value. Not the 7 stores. The rules. The thing Dad called cold had protected the company, employees, customers, and eventually the family from a worse decision. Thank you, I said. It was not forgiveness. It was a beginning. Dad refused counseling at first. He said everyone had exaggerated a Christmas mistake. Then Crestline Community Bank declined his application to refinance the home equity balance. His financial advisor refused to process another retirement withdrawal without Mom's signed approval. Madison stopped asking him for money. The system he had built around rescue stopped functioning. Only then did he call me. I need advice, he said. Personal or business? Does it matter? Yes. He sighed. Personal. What kind? Your mother wants a full financial separation. You need an attorney and financial planner. I thought you could explain the accounts. I can understand them. I should not manage your divorce. We are not divorcing. Then your separation. He became quiet. You will not help me. I gave you the correct professionals. That is not what family does. I closed my eyes. We were back at Christmas. What does family do, Dad? They show up. I am on the phone. They do more than refer people. Like using signatures without permission? He stopped. That was wrong, he said. The admission came so quietly I almost missed it. What was wrong? Using your name, the discount, the income, and the plan? What plan? To make the gift public so I would feel too cruel to stop it. He breathed slowly. I thought once she had the car you would approve it. Why? Because you always fixed things. Not because I was generous. Not because I loved Madison. Because I always fixed things. I am not fixing this, I said. I know. How does that feel? Terrifying. That was honest. For the first time in his life, Dad had to live inside a problem without assigning it to the capable daughter. I will meet you for coffee, I said. I will not review accounts, contact banks, or talk Mom into returning. What will we discuss? You. He laughed without humor. I do not know how. I know. We met the next week. He apologized. Not perfectly. He explained too much. Said Madison had struggled after leaving work. Said he worried the grandchildren would lose stability. Said he believed I had more than enough. Then he stopped and said, none of that gave me authority. That was the sentence I needed. Not the circumstances. The authority. He had no right to give what belonged to me. I accepted the apology without promising trust. Mom returned home months later under a written financial agreement. Separate accounts. No loans above a set amount without both signatures. No support to either daughter without full disclosure. No promises using future income. Dad hated the formality. Mom said formality was the price of hidden numbers. Madison and Tyler sold their second vehicle. They reduced the debt by $34,000 in the first year. Her content business became smaller and more profitable because she stopped buying things to look successful before earning money. She posted home organization, low-cost family activities, and debt recovery lessons. The videos performed better than the luxury image ever had. She never told the Christmas car story publicly. That remained ours. Derek found another job at a small independent lot after several months. He sent Julian a letter accepting responsibility. We did not rehire him. Accountability does not guarantee restoration to the same position. Morgan Crest changed too. We added a policy that no owner-related transaction could be approved by a single executive. Every family, board, or employee-affiliated deal required independent pricing and written confirmation from legal. Some managers thought the rule was excessive. I told them every good policy begins as a story someone wishes had never happened. The next Christmas, my parents hosted again. Smaller gathering. No live stream. No giant bows. I almost declined. Then Madison called. "I want you there," she said. "Why?" "Because you are my sister. That answer has caused problems before." She laughed. "Because I want to see you and I am not asking for anything." Better. I went. My old gray sedan stopped in front of the house. Dad came outside. He looked at it. "You know we can get you something newer." I raised one eyebrow. He smiled. "I mean, through a normal purchase." "I know." Inside, the gifts were modest. Books, sweaters. Toys for the children. Mom handed Madison an envelope. Inside was a gift certificate for 6 sessions with a certified financial planner. Madison laughed so hard she cried. Then Mom handed me a small box. Not velvet, cardboard. Inside was a keychain made from the metal of the original Crestline used Motors sign. Julian had helped her get it. On the back were the words, "For what you built when we were not looking." My throat tightened. Mom said, "No picture unless you ask." I looked at Madison. She held up her phone. "May I?" I thought about the previous Christmas. The bus pass. The SUV. The joke. The signature. Then I nodded. One picture. We stood beside the tree. No car outside. No contrast gift. No punchline. Just 2 sisters holding small boxes. After the picture, Madison hugged me. "I was jealous," she whispered. "Of what?" "The dealership, not the money. That you built something no one handed you." I looked at her. "You are building something now. Smaller. Real is better than large." She nodded. Dinner was ordinary. Dad burned the rolls. Tyler forgot the dessert in the car. The children argued over a toy. No one tried to turn the day into proof of a perfect family. That made it our best Christmas. I still own Morgan Crest Automotive. We now have 8 stores. I finally retired the old gray sedan after the transmission failed. I did not replace it with the most expensive model on the lot. I chose a comfortable hybrid and paid the same documented price an executive would receive under company policy. Julian processed the sale. Priya reviewed it. The paperwork was perfect. When I drove it to my parents' house, Dad walked around it slowly. "Nice car," he said. "Thank you." "Did you get a family discount?" "No." He smiled. "Good." The bus pass remained useful long after its 30 days expired. Not as transportation, as evidence. It showed me what my family believed I would accept. It showed Dad that access was not authority. It showed Madison that rescue could become debt disguised as love. It showed Mom that a joke can reveal a hierarchy more clearly than a speech. And it showed me that hiding success does not protect belonging. It only gives people room to invent a smaller version of your life. On Christmas, my parents handed my sister a luxury car key and gave me a bus pass. They expected me to laugh. They expected me to approve the discount after the surprise became public. They expected the capable daughter to absorb the cost and protect everyone from embarrassment. What they did not expect was my name on the dealership deed. I did not take the SUV back because I was jealous. I returned an unfunded vehicle because the deal was false. I did not expose my father because I wanted revenge. His own paperwork exposed him. And I did not save my sister by buying the car she wanted. I helped only after she agreed to face the debt she had. That is the difference between rescue and support. Rescue protects someone from the truth. Support helps them survive it. My family had spent years giving Madison rescue and calling it love. They gave me responsibility and called it strength. We all had to learn something better. Madison had to learn that being celebrated did not mean being entitled. Dad had to learn that good intentions did not create permission. Mom had to learn that making one child the joke to magnify another child's gift was not harmless. And I had to learn that I did not need to look less successful to remain their daughter. The dealership was mine. The rules were mine to enforce. The life was mine to explain or keep private. And the word no belonged to me before anyone tied a bow around the answer they wanted. Months later, I received a framed copy of the first photograph taken outside Crestline Used Motors, on the day I bought it. Ellen, my original investor, had found the image in an old closing folder. I was standing beneath a faded sign in a borrowed coat, holding keys that opened a business everyone expected to fail. On the back, she had written, "You never needed permission to become the owner." I placed the photograph in the flagship showroom, not in my office, where employees and customers could see it. The next time Mom visited the dealership, she stopped in front of it. "You look terrified," she said. "I was." "We thought you were only helping someone else run the place." "I know. Why did you stop correcting us?" "Because every explanation became a question about what the business could do for the family." She looked toward the sales floor. "That is fair." Then she corrected herself. "No, it was unfair, but what you said is accurate." The distinction made me smile. Before leaving, she bought a coffee from the customer lounge and paid for it, even though employees receive it free. "It is $1, I said. "I am practicing boundaries." The cashier looked confused. I laughed. That moment was not dramatic enough for a Christmas video. It did not come with a luxury key or a velvet box. But it showed me that change had become possible. Not complete, possible. I never forgot the feeling of standing outside my parents' house with the bus pass in my hand and the unfunded SUV behind me. One gift cost $32. The other nearly cost $80,000. But the most expensive thing in that driveway was the belief that my consent could be added later. That was the price I finally refused to pay.